Hello, Marion. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. I could hear the birds there in Byron. What is it like today in Byron?
We have finally sun for the last 2 days after so much rain, and I've noticed the birds as well. Actually, they're just out there
Yeah.
chirping away. So happy that it's not raining.
It's like us going to the beach when it's sunny. Maybe that's their version of doing it.
I think we
Yeah.
all feel the same. We're
Yeah.
just so happy that the rain is done.
Yeah. It's a good combination. Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about Tantra because I'm quite curious about it. My curiosity about it has gone deeper through the years, and I want to hear your perspective on it. So, what's Tantra for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really big question and a big
Mm-hmm.
topic because Tantra, the word Tantra is actually originated from the East,
Mm.
mainly from India.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, part of descriptive as a set of techniques that spiritual seekers would practice in order to gain access to a deeper information about what it means to be incarnated as a human being and
Mm.
basically finding out about what's underneath our superficial experiences. So there was different techniques and they were actually not just sexual. So it
Mm.
was actually quite a solid framework that the word originated from. And there's different translations for it as well. One of them is actually technique,
Mm. Mm.
and another one of them is weaving.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Um, as we then progressed over time and Tantra came into the West from the East about 30 years ago,
Mm.
it was mainly the sexual Tantras that came into the West because the West being the West, focusing more on hedonism and
Yeah.
pleasure and egotism. I think
Mm.
that the sexual Tantras really appealed to the West because they meant learning and expansion through pleasure rather
Mm.
than sitting on a pillow and doing different yantras and mantras, working with sound and figures or movement in order
Mm.
to have a deep experience of your essence. So
Mm.
I think in the West, that was less appealing,
Mm.
even though we spiritual teachers come, a lot of them from Buddhism that actually do teach Tantra, but it's not a sexual practice that they teach.
Mm. Mm. And is there still a link between the Tantra as practiced in the West and the deeper or more comprehensive body of? I think it's really like a technology, right? It's like a technology of embodiment, is it? Something like
Yes,
that.
it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
is there
I'm
still
not
a link?
sure.
Is there?
The link, yeah, I was going to talk about the link.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not 100% sure that there is a real link between the West and the East.
Mm.
Basically, the reason is that the sexual tantras in the East are basically a set of secret teachings that were mainly only taught from students that had a teacher, that the teacher found that they were ready to actually do these practices. I think in
Mm.
the East, they were always aware that sexuality could be a huge distraction, a huge addiction, a huge how can I say, like, mainly a distraction from the actual purpose of the spiritual practice, which is ultimately to realize the essence of who you are, that you are this eternal light that, like, weaves for everything. And that's where Tantra, as the word of weaving,
Mm.
has a function here because the techniques make you realize that everything is connected, that everything is one, and it's like a carpet that's woven, the
Mm.
weaving in a carpet. And
Mm.
so that's kind of its function. So in the East, they are not sort of just publicly teaching sexual tantras to people. It doesn't work with their societies, with their ethic and their morality. And so they're mainly focusing on meditation practices or sound or movement practices as their tantras. And in the West, Tantra, the word Tantra itself has actually become a word for a consciously practiced sexuality. I rarely meet anybody who knows or thinks that Tantra means anything else. So these days when you have a Tantra festival or a Tantra retreat, and there's nothing wrong about that. Basically, what it means to people is there is some conscious sexuality practices that I'm gonna be encountering. It's sex inclusive, and there's a spiritual aspect that I'm being taught about sexuality here.
It's good background. It's good to know, like that this is it's like wow, how things can evolve and metamorphosize. And I'm curious, related to this question, is you grew up in France, right? And
Germany and in Portugal.
right. And how did you yourself discover Tantra? Like, is there like a story?
Yes, I think everybody has a story, right? How they get
How you find out about all this interesting, but not really readily known stuff and techniques, right?
Yes. So my personal story is actually a little bit out there, I would say, because I would really say that I brought in a lot of longing and knowing from past life. And I happened to find a book when I was about 12 on the Greek temple priestesses and their practices in the temples like 3,000-4,000 years ago. And I remember just being so fascinated by this book and just reading it in one hit. And there was something that I even get goosebumps when I talk about it. There was something in me that just resonated so deeply. And I just knew there was another layer to sexuality that was not about procreation and that was not about just pleasure. And that's how it was a really amazing moment for me, and it just opened a memory for me. And then because of my environment and because actually the red tantras, which means the sexual tantric practices, they're not really readily available in most places in the world. It's not something that you go to your friends, I'm going to a tantra night tonight, are you coming? It's not like going to play a game of tennis. So it was only much later that I rediscovered those teachings around sexuality, but I did ongoingly go for my deep search. So I met in the white tantras, which was all the meditation practices and the mantras and the sort of more the sitting and visualization, which is also tantra, but it's not a sexual tantra. Well, it's a union practice, but it's not working with a consort or a partner sexually.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. When you talked about the Greek temples, I have this image of they had the stories where the men after the war, they will come home and then they're all traumatized by the war, right? And then there all this aggression, and then they'll enter this temple and they'll be loved. The war will be loved out of them, so that they can be integrated back into society. Is it the kind of past life memory you had, being one of those priestesses in the temple?
I suppose so. And wasn't so much. So that is a specific temple where they use the healing power of sexuality and really bring the person back into a state of love and centeredness. And that wasn't something that I had read at that time. For me, it was more about the temple priestesses that sort of used the sexuality in a transpersonal way, also in a way of communicating to spirit and to the nature. You know, there was a relationship between the earth and the sexuality, you know, around fertility. And there was also a sort of teaching body about really like living as a celibate, meaning that you don't have a partner, but you are actually taking in people and taking them through initiation sexually, and then they go back out into the world. You know, it's sort of like an educational sexual practice. So the priestesses themselves usually didn't have a family or a partner. They were there to represent the teachings of sexuality and of the spiritual aspect of it. It's quite beautiful, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And I actually had a story where I lived in this really small town and village back home in Germany, countryside, right? And so a lady came up to me. She was like much older than me, and she came up to me and she said, "I remember you from the temples in Egypt. We were priestesses together."
Wow.
And I just remember, and I always still get goosebumps. I just remember, like, I was in Germany. I was a teenager. I had no idea about Egypt or, you know, temples or priestesses. I've never heard that before. And when she said it, I just felt it, you know. She was a lot more advanced on her journey than I was. And of course, this has then continued to happen to me, how different people came into my life and introduced me to different lineages. And then 6 years ago, my current partner introducing me to ISTA, which is the International School of Temple Arts. And they actually have revived old temple rituals, and they're bringing it to the people because they are so powerful, and they're making it accessible for a broader part of the population. And when I got in touch with that, it felt straight away like a memory. And a lot of people I met there, then I was the one saying, "I think I met you before." So then the tables had turned after my own long journey, you know, finding myself. Suddenly I was able to find other people that I felt I had met before.
That's so beautiful. It's a bit like you have this astral body of the past hovering, and then when it lands, you go boom, you're online, and then ooh, and then you start to recognize and remember. That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
And obviously you've been doing this for a long time now. I guess I'm curious, what are maybe some key realizations you have in this life about this practice, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so my absolute key realization has been that it's really essential to combine the red and the white tantras for me. So because I had access to the white tantras, and that was much easier to access, you know, Buddhism, meditation, yoga. I did all these things, and through these practices, I really found like a part of myself that really, I call it the ascension path. You know, it really opens up upper chakras here. You know, the connection to spirit, to source, the opening of your heart. And then I didn't actually encounter too much red tantras. I did a little bit in the Osho ashram in India, but it was actually, again, it's not the main focus. Even though the sexuality is very embraced and accepted, I didn't really see any temple art practices there, as to say, but there is some things around touch and conscious sexuality there. But it wasn't actually over the top. I would still think today that in the Osho ashram, it's mainly about meditation and ecstatic realization through meditation, like dance and, you know, Sufism, and it's amazing. But what I'm trying to say is that when I then got in touch with the Red Tantras through Ishtar, actually, it was for me like my whole being came into full embodiment into this lifetime, because the Red Tantras use the experiences in the body and with each other to have the realization of what spirit is in matter. Because somehow, you know, in the White Tantras, we are kind of ascending back to spirit. But actually, in this lifetime, spirit has actually descended into matter and is having an experience in matter. And so I never quite got that, and that was my core realization. So I always thought I was doing the right thing, you know, ascending and, you know, and being light and love, and it was great, but something really juicy and dark was missing. When I got into the Red Tantras, I felt I descended into the messiness of the human incarnation, into the body, into the emotions, you know, into the earth that has volcanoes and tsunamis and sun and beautiful beaches and islands. And I just sort of started to embrace the whole spectrum of the yin and yang, you know, the dark and the light. And so my core realization on this journey has really been that I now, by embracing the Red Tantras and looking at all the bodily things, all the excretions, you know, all the birthing and all that, you know, the heartache and the polarity and the conflict, and really going, wow, you know, like what it's called to be alive and to really be all of these things. And I feel ecstatic because I no longer feel I want to be somewhere else. I just feel I can be here with my light, with my dark, and I can create this alchemy, and soon enough I will die and leave this body, and then something else will be there. But right now I feel with the Red Tantras I'm really on a journey of embodiment.
Beautiful, amazing.
I understand what love is as a human being. Like, you know, like just really getting that perspective from the physical.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like another way of looking at it is there's that transcendent traditions where we want to get out of the wheel of incarnation, and then there's the immanent, we want to penetrate the mystery of matter, because really it's a big question. Do we really know what physicality is? Because sometimes all we feel is the life force, but what is the actual matter? It's still a mystery, and we're still trying to penetrate it. Like, what is this? What is this? And we're so lucky that we have this planet, right? That this is possible. So yeah, because like we've been searching and we haven't found anything like this yet in this huge universe. And we should not waste we're lucky enough to have incarnated. Like, yeah, so I could feel your passion for this and how it's become part of you.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I feel that by practicing Red and White Tantra, there is actually less and less separation. So exactly what tantric techniques are all about is to realize that it's all connected, which you can also say that nothing is separate, but everything is one. And so having that experience more and more, it matters actually less to me personally, like matter and spirit are sort of constantly in interplay with each other. And it's also not about transcending into something eternal, because this life is already a part of this eternal journey of spirit, you know, so there's nowhere to go. It's not like I should already be in my next life or I should already be out of the body. No, because what is the rush for? You know,
Mm.
it's just part of a eternal, you know, movement. I may as well just really be present with it. And I feel it's almost like I don't even think much about death as such anymore, because I do feel it's an integrated part of my journey. So I may as well just be here right now.
Enjoy the ride and really,
Yeah.
really
And
learn
it's not
deeply.
always enjoyable. And I think that's also the part of Red Tantra, is to realize that the human incarnation has its own flavor and quality. And I feel like a lot of the spiritual lineages really speak about that we learn a lot through suffering on this planet. And it can sound a little bit dark or negative. But when I look at my own life, I have to admit that waking up to consciousness and awareness has usually been through an uncomfortable situation or a conflict. So it's almost like a spirit comes in and it gets confronted. It learns about the human experience and what love is, what quality of love is able to experience on this planet. So it's very interesting I resisted that a long time. And I come into more acceptance now that this is also part of the learning, is to allowing the dark parts or the difficult parts to touch me really deeply and find the gold in that.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
And then it actually
our
becomes confronting. You know, it becomes less of a obstacle. You get less scared of conflict because somehow you sort of understand that in the end, actually, something good is going to come out of it.
yeah. It reminds me of this Rilke poem, The Man Watching, and towards the end of the poem, he talks about in the Old Testament, there are humans who would wrestle with angels. So they know they're gonna lose because these are angels. So every time you go there, you're gonna lose. But they still go because in the struggle, it's how they this is how they grow, by constantly being defeated by greater beings. That's the line. So this is how we grow. It's by being defeated by something really greater than us. There's something with that struggle, right? Amazing. And I
That's
guess
funny. I didn't know that story.
what's that? What did you say?
That's a cool story. I think I'm going to try to remember that one.
Yeah. I'll send you a video where I recite the poem. It's a beautiful poem. I always try to that image when I'm having difficulty. Remember the wrestling with the angel. which then I guess is a good segue to ask you that now that you've have this path and now you're sharing it with people, right? You're teaching workshops and you have this upcoming festival of love, Taste of Love. And would you like to talk about that? It's coming in soon.
Yes, definitely. I'd love to. So, so it is our 6th year of running a festival called the Taste of Love Tantra Festival. And I guess it's just grown organically because we find it so exhilarating to be on this journey. And the people we meet, they really want to live life from a different place. So people who are interested in Tantra festivals or retreats or workshops, it's like they have something about them, like a spark, you know, like an aliveness, a radiance, a vibration that it's nice to hang around with. And so I guess creating the festival and running it was really in order to create a platform where we could continue to grow and we can continue to explore, because it keeps on going deeper and deeper and deeper. And Tantra is about saying yes to having an experience and learning from this experience. And of course, like, it's all inclusive. So the festival has many different workshops that help us to get in touch with the body, to heal the body also from obstacles, blockages, and traumas that kind of keep us numb and keep us shut down or keep us not authentic because we are wearing masks, because we are afraid to just, even be ourselves in case we are not going to be loved. And so it's not just about sexuality. There's a couple of workshops that are about sexuality and how to be more conscious with that. But it is really a tantric festival, meaning it has like the wide and the red tantra aspects in there. And it's a festival that's designed for newcomers as much as returning people. So it's a really safe container. For newcomers, it's really about being completely open and curious and not holding back and really getting the most out of it while you're there, you know, like speaking your desires or, you know, going to your edges and living fully. So when you are on your deathbed, you don't regret anything you may have missed out on.
Amazing. That's beautiful. Feels good. And what would, can you give us like a flavor of what the different workshops are, so that people who don't know about it can get a taste of love?
Yes, a taste of love, right? So these workshops are little tasters, and how we run the festival is we have 3 streams. So there's always 3 workshops at the same time. So the presenters, they actually tell you about a little bit what the workshop is about, so you can feel them and you can feel the resonance, and then you pick which one you want to do. And I find that really good, because you can really listen to your animal body, to your intuition, you know, what you want to do. And then the workshops themselves, I mean, there's about 36 of them. There's an evening program that we all do together with the whole festival. It's about 200 to 300 people that are there every year. And, you know, some of the workshops, for example, teach you first up about feeling your boundaries and your desires, you know, and how to actually engage and connect with another person and kind of, you know, respecting them. Or another workshop about learning about energy, like learning about people and how to create attraction and ecstatic eroticism by energetically engaging, you know, like some people are very sensitive, like they can feel someone come into their field or into the room. Other workshops could be finding your wild side, you know, being animal play, where you can get in touch with your instincts and your wildness, your rawness. There is also some workshops more about the kinkiness, you know, where we can work with sense deprivation and then feel what happens there. So there's a huge variety of things that we do, but the most important thing is, you know, everybody is invited to participate to as much as they are comfortable with, and couples are very, very welcome as well at this festival. And all the couples that come, they really take their love life to another level. They get to know each other on a new way, like from a place of vulnerability and authenticity. And, you know, couples can decide, you know, how they want to participate and, you know, whether they want to do anything together or do a little bit something apart in a workshop. So there's really something there for everybody.
I love that the way you describe it. It's really true to Tantra. There's like an interweaving of all these different modalities, I suppose, or different ways of expressing the same humanity, really. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's another aspect to Tantra as well, that now we actually have moved into a beautiful campground which we hired exclusively. So we are now also bringing nature into the event, because the relationship to nature is very important in Tantra. So a lot of practices actually use nature as a way of reflecting ourselves, as a way of learning from nature, and also understanding the energies that nature brings. Like it can be so calming to go to the beach and swim, or to walk through the forest. And so, yeah, beautifully enough, the festival is 3 or 7 days. in an exclusive, beautiful venue with swimming pool and lots of nature at the beach, and people can camp or stay in a cabin. And so at the nighttime, we have a fire, we can be outside in the elements. And I think that's really, really great that we have created, from being in the center of town in a conference center, which was amazing. But now to move into a more natural setting feels really good for us.
That feels good because, people would stay there, right? Stay there for the duration of the 3 or 7 days. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have to, you're free to go and come, and, if you live close by, of course, but all the tickets include actually camping. And I think the idea is most people are staying because you can just flow and you're more relaxed. Beautiful food on offer. You can get 2 or 3 meals a day that you can purchase as a package. And so it's supposed to be like, Tantra is an experience, right? And we need to create an environment of relaxation so that our senses can actually go out there and expand. And we are ready to receive new information. So to bring down the stress level, relax 1 week in nature with food, with beautiful people, no drugs, no alcohol needed. It's like this wonderful journey for the senses on all levels.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. We are so looking forward to it.
Sounds like the best. It's like, most people go on holidays and then they need a holiday to recover from the holiday. But this one sounds like this is the one that when you come out of this, you're ready. You're nourished. You're ready to go back to the world because you're so nourished.
Yes, I really recommend for people to just come and try it out if you've never been in an environment like that. Like we even have a workshop for newcomers on the first day where all people that never been come together and we share and we explain. And it is exactly what you say. After this 7 days or even after 3 days, usually everybody feels so energized and so met in their essence and in their humanity that it releases a lot of energy. And so you don't usually need a holiday after a Tantra festival. You're ready to take on the world again.
Yeah, ready to work on your passion projects. That's what we need. Like, I'm ready to work on my startup. I'm ready to work on my business or whatever. Yeah, amazing. So when is this happening? When is this happening? So we could let...
We got 2.5 weeks to go, March 13 to 19. And there's still some tickets available. There's very limited accommodation available. There's a couple of cabins available still. So get in fast to grab that if that's what you want. But otherwise, camping is kind of unlimited. You'll always be able to go. And it's it's only 2.5 weeks to go. So
get it. We'll put links.
Get it. It's out of Byron Bay here in New South Wales. Beautiful area to be in and to explore as well.
Yeah, people travel from all over the world to go there, right? Yeah. Awesome. So we're on. It's around 10:20. 10 minutes to go because you have to be somewhere. Anything else you wanna say before we wrap up?
Did I want to say anything else? Oh yes, I do.
Yeah.
So I'm available, of course, for session work, and my partner and I run retreats and workshops. So we have a quite comprehensive website, tasteoflove.com.au. And in the event section, you will find everything that we offer, from 1-day workshops to 5-day retreats to 7-day retreats, and to the festival, of course, which is our main event for the year. And I just, if anybody feels the calling to work on themselves, their sexuality, or any kind of trauma that's blocking them, I'm available for session work. I do a lot of body-based session work, and I really have a passion about simply like helping people on the way, facilitating their process in whatever they're working with in their life. After my own journey of over 25 years of countless processes and workshop and retreats, that's what I've put my current passion to is to just make it accessible to people, to take off some of these burdens that keep us down, and to come back into our full power and radically change and just live from a different place in this life.
Awesome. Yeah. So people could have their own. Yeah, they could learn from you with more focus privately, I suppose, rather than in a. Oh yeah, this goes beyond the taster. This is like really diving deep. Yeah.
Deeper one-on-one sessions also in Skype, of course, available, and otherwise, yeah, just have a little sniff into one of our events.
Awesome. That feels good. Feels good. Thank you for sharing your hard acquired knowledge. I think it takes a while to get all this insights and knowledge. It took you like 25 years and it's still going. And so thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on your little show, and I'm excited to support that.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.